One day Bobby has been missing her boyfriend Ko, as they haven't had the chance to meet for quite some time. She shares her longing to see him, and they begin exchanging messages. Out of the blue, Ko surprises Bobby by secretly arriving to meet her and proposes marriage. Overwhelmed with joy, Bobby happily accepts his proposal, and the couple shares an intimate moment. Later, Bobby is seen shopping for a wedding dress when her friend asks her if she is truly ready to spend the rest of her life with Ko. Bobby confidently affirms her readiness and explains that Ko's presence in her life has brought about profound changes. Her friend, however, prefers to explore new relationships and experiences with different people, hesitating to settle down. Bobby gently encourages her to consider marriage when she finds the right person. Nearby, an elderly lady overhears their conversation and fondly recalls a time when marriages were arranged simply by viewing a photograph of the prospective partner. This reminder sparks nostalgia for a simpler approach to relationships in the past. It is revealed that Bobby is not only Ko's girlfriend but also his business partner, managing transactions on his behalf. On a particular day, Ko has a court appearance, and Bobby accompanies him, along with his assistant. During their journey to the court, Bobby spots a bike and fondly recalls her past experiences of riding one. At the court, Bobby arrives first, nervously awaiting Ko's arrival. When Judge Marcos enters, Bobby is immediately captivated by his commanding presence. Finally, Ko arrives, and the hearing begins. Ko's company, in partnership with another firm named Gore, is facing accusations of fraud. Ko presents crucial evidence to clear his company's name. After carefully reviewing the evidence, Judge Marcos determines that Ko's company is not guilty of fraud and subsequently acquits them. Ko, overwhelmed with happiness, embraces Bobby in celebration. However, Bobby's attention remains on Judge Marcos, and she gestures toward him to show her appreciation for his fair judgment. Her gratitude toward the judge is apparent, although her connection with Ko remains strong. The moment reflects the balance between her personal life and professional responsibilities, as Bobby navigates her role as both a supportive partner and a business-savvy individual. In this scene, Ko has to travel to another city for work, and he bids farewell to Bobby before leaving. The following day, Bobby finds out that her bachelor party is scheduled to take place and invites her assistant and best friend, Tiago, to join her. However, Tiago politely declines the invitation. Feeling determined to move on from her past and create new experiences, Bobby decides to sell her beloved bike. During the bachelor party, Bobby and her girlfriends enjoy a performance by a male stripper. They also present Bobby with thoughtful gifts, but one of them holds a devastating surprise: pictures of Ko with another woman. Distraught and heartbroken, Bobby locks herself in the bathroom. Her friends, growing concerned, immediately call Tiago for help. When Tiago arrives, he offers comfort and reassures Bobby, persuading her to come out of the bathroom. Struggling with a mix of emotions, Bobby's feelings of betrayal lead her to seek revenge. She decides to pay a visit to Ko's office to uncover more details about the woman in the photos, planning to confront him and demand answers. At the entrance, they are stopped by a security guard who refuses them entry. In response, they quickly make up a story, telling him that Bobby is planning a surprise for her boss and is about to marry him. They ask for permission to enter and set up the surprise, and after some hesitation, the guard agrees, though he insists on accompanying them inside. Bobby's friend distracts the guard by leading him into another room, which gives Bobby and Tiago the opportunity to continue without any hindrance. While exploring the office, Bobby uncovers some shocking information about the other woman, discovering that Ko had been in a 2-year relationship with her. She also realizes that the gifts Ko used to give her were identical to those he had given to the other woman. This revelation enrages Bobby, and she begins to smash items in the office in a fit of rage. The noise catches the guard's attention, and he grows suspicious. However, Bobby's friend is quick on his feet and diverts the guard's focus away from the disturbance. After some time, all 4 of them emerged from their rooms. The guard then inquired, "Did you hear anything break?" They all answered with a firm, "No." Later, Bobby, having taken revenge on Ko, found herself experiencing a confusing mix of emotions. On one hand, she felt a sense of satisfaction for getting back at him, but on the other hand, she was deeply troubled by his actions. As the days passed, Bobby found it increasingly difficult to move on, and Keo's memories continued to haunt her thoughts. Desperate to escape the overwhelming feelings, she turned to drugs in an attempt to numb the pain and avoid confronting the emotional turmoil she was going through. One morning, Bobby's friend stops by to check on her and is shocked to find Bobby severely intoxicated. Worried about her friend's well-being, Bobby's friend takes charge and gives her a makeover. The transformation boosts Bobby's confidence, inspiring her to end her toxic business relationship with Keo. Determined to make some changes, Bobby heads to the courthouse to retrieve a file she had left behind a few days ago. When she enters, the judge is instantly struck by her new look and starts to develop feelings for her. After this encounter, Bobby unexpectedly runs into Keo, who is still deeply in love with her. However, Bobby is resolute in her decision to move on and tells him firmly that she no longer wants to be involved with him. Seeing the tension, the judge steps in and mediates, eventually convincing Keo to leave, allowing Bobby to take control of her own future. In the following scene, Bobby and Marcos are at a club, enjoying drinks together. During their conversation, Bobby notices Marcos stealing glances at another girl. Curious, he decides to approach her, and Bobby, feeling uninterested, chooses to leave the club. Later, Bobby opens up to her friend, recounting the evening and expressing her thoughts on relationships. She reveals that she no longer believes in committing her life to just one person, instead feeling drawn to exploring new experiences and finding happiness with different partners. When Bobby returns home, she is shocked to find the front door wide open and her belongings scattered all over the place. A sense of unease washes over her, and she quickly contacts Tiago, her trusted friend, to come to her aid and help her figure out what happened. Tiago arrives at Bobby's house, and she begins to share the story of how the judge had saved her from a dangerous encounter with criminals, expressing her admiration for him. Tiago, however, cautions Bobby about Judge Marcos's dark side and warns her not to trust him. During their conversation, Tiago opens up and confesses his feelings for Bobby, but she gently explains that they are simply good friends and that their bond will remain platonic. Hurt but understanding, Tiago decides to leave, vowing to live life to the fullest and not dwell on unrequited feelings. Bobby, feeling conflicted, returns to her old ways and buys back the bike she had once sold during her bachelor party. The following day, she joins a biker club, and all the members set off on a group trip. During the journey, Bobby is taken by surprise when she spots Judge Marcos among the bikers. Their interactions quickly turn physical, and Bobby and Marcos engage in a passionate encounter. Later, another member of the club approaches Bobby with a warning, urging her to stay away from Marcos. The biker describes him as a strange and unpredictable individual, a warning that makes Bobby uneasy and leaves her questioning her choices. In the next scene, while Bobby is on her way to an appointment, she receives an email with disturbing content. The email includes videos of her and Judge Marcos, where he openly expresses his desire to have a sexual encounter with her. This discovery raises serious suspicions for Bobby, making her question both Keo and Tiago's true intentions. Over the next few days, Bobby manages to hack into Keo's laptop, uncovering shocking evidence of his involvement in illegal activities. She finds proof that Keo had masterminded a fraudulent scheme, orchestrating a court case under a false company name to target his own business. Armed with this information, Bobby's actions lead to Keo's arrest. However, despite having the chance to take revenge on him, Bobby decides against it. She reflects on the love she once had for Keo and ultimately chooses not to act on her anger, choosing instead to leave the past behind and move forward. Marcos invites Bobby out on a date, which Bobby gladly accepts. Soon after, Bobby visits Marcos's house often, and they begin spending time together while engaging in intimate moments. Over time, Bobby moves in with Marcos. One evening, a woman named Paula arrives at Marcos's house, and Bobby immediately recognizes her from some videos. Paula is revealed to be Marcos's wife, and she rudely confronts Bobby. The realization that Marcos is married enrages Bobby, causing her to storm off on her bike. Her frustration leads to an accident, and Bobby is taken to the hospital, where she receives treatment and gradually recovers. Once she is back home, Marcos visits her to apologize and explain his side of the story. He opens up about his complicated life, revealing that he has a 4-year-old daughter suffering from a health condition caused by Ko's actions during pregnancy. Ko's drug use weakened their child's health, which led to their eventual separation. Bobby's anger begins to fade after hearing the painful truth behind Marcos's family struggles. She starts to feel sympathy for him, and her emotional state improves as she reflects on his situation. In the next scene, Marcos is seen working diligently to track down the person responsible for Bobby's accident. He orders his assistant to discreetly watch over those in Bobby's life. Meanwhile, Ko is shown in a separate scene, badly beaten. It is revealed that Tiago, working with a dangerous gang, had masterminded these brutal attacks. The reason for the violence stems from Bobby stealing Ko's laptop, which led the gang to search for both Ko and Tiago in an attempt to recover the stolen money. However, Bobby's relationship with Marcos has kept her safe from their wrath. Tiago had previously warned Bobby to stay away from Marcos, but now, with their plan unraveling, the gang decides to take matters into their own hands and attempt to kill Bobby. Marcos, who has been monitoring Bobby's circle of friends, overhears this dangerous plot. He quickly tries to reach Bobby to warn her, but she, still angry, refuses to answer his calls. Bobby is with Tiago, discussing plans to report Ko to the police, but things take a dark turn when Tiago kidnaps her. Despite Marcos repeatedly trying to reach Bobby, she cannot answer his calls due to her fear of Tiago. When Tiago briefly diverts his attention, Bobby seizes the moment and answers Marcos's call, explaining the situation. Bobby's friend, who always has access to her live location via an app, is contacted immediately, and Bobby shares her whereabouts. Her friend quickly sets off to find her. Meanwhile, Tiago has taken Bobby deep into a dark forest, and it becomes clear that he intends to kill her. Ko and Tiago are both involved in plotting Bobby's murder. Tiago orders Ko to shoot Bobby, but Ko refuses. In a shocking turn, Tiago grabs Ko's gun and shoots him instead. Now, Bobby is the target. As Tiago prepares to kill Bobby, Marcos arrives just in time and tackles Tiago in a violent struggle. During the fight, Tiago shoots Marcos, injuring him badly. Just as Tiago is about to fire at Bobby, Marcos' assistant arrives and shoots Tiago from behind, stopping the danger. Bobby rushes to Marcos' side, desperate to check if he's okay. Fortunately, Marcos survives the ordeal. Help arrives soon after, and Marcos is rushed to the hospital for treatment. A few days later, Marcos fully recovers from his injuries. In a heartwarming turn of events, Bobby and Marcos get married, solidifying their bond. Bobby also embraces the role of a mother by adopting Marcos' young daughter, bringing their family closer together. The film concludes with a sense of closure and happiness for the couple. Thank you for watching this recap. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more content.